So let's talk about Boolean. This is a very interesting data type. This is short for BOOL in C, C++. So what is Boolean? Well, Boolean is either true or false, right? True is 1, false is 0. If you do a size of bool, right, in C++, what you get? You're gonna get 1, okay? So this means Boolean is 1 byte. This is like, what is 1 byte? 2 to the 8, right? 256. That's huge. You may be wondering, like, if we're talking about zeros and 1, right? Why wouldn't you just use a bit, right? Because that would have been a perfect deal, right? Why do you want to assign a byte, right, in computer memory to store a Boolean, right? Seems extravagant, right? This is not necessary. Well, it turns out that CPU can't address anything smaller than a byte, and that's it. This is like the reason, right? So we gotta live with it. The Boolean can be used as this, right, in this fashion. So you don't have to, in C++, you don't have to say, let's compare this with either true or false, right? And then decide on what this is. You can simply just use it as is, and it'll work. In some language, you can't do that, right? You get warning, but in C++, it is okay. You can also replace true with 1, right? So true is 1. In general, true is anything that is not 0, right? So you can say is good, right? 7, if you assign a 7 to it's good, and you try to print out it's good, you get 1, which is true, right? So this is very interesting. In other languages like in C++, in Java, you cannot do this, right? In Java, Boolean is considered a class. So the value of a Boolean is either 0 or 1, right? There's no something in between. But in C++, there's a lot of gray areas here where you can have a value, even -7, right? If you assign -7 to is good here, it will print out true, okay? So just remember that in C++, anything that is not a 0 is true. True or false in general is just 0, okay? In C++ language fields. Okay, integer can be implicitly converted to Boolean, non-zero integers, so we just talked about that. In fact, you can do a little trick and do some arithmetics as illustrated. Now, this is not recommended. What you're doing here is you're assigning a value 1, right? So y and x, right, both have y, because true is 1, right? So you get 1, 1. So this is going to give you 2, right? So sum is 2. So if you see all this, you see 2. X minus 1, so sum is going to be 0. And in this case, you're going to get 0. So just so you know, when you do cout, so what is cout? Cout prints the value of that variable, okay? So the value of the variable is an integer, okay? So in this case, you're not going to get false. You won't be able to do that. In a console, when you print out a value of a Boolean, is either 1 or 0, right? In this case. So a lot of students came and asked me why this is not true or false. How come it's 1 and 0? Just remember, okay? Cout prints the value, right, of the variable. Okay, why would anybody do something like this in their code? Okay, this is no. Like no one would do stuff like this, right? This is just a word on play, so to speak, and we like to be mischievous sometimes. But this illustrates, right, the value of Boolean in C++ world.